Hey, what's going on, guys? So today we're talking about another Yu-Gi-Oh! Penny stock market watch. I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the cards in the tins. I know the last couple of weeks I've just been skipping them. Also going to take a look to see what cards from Burst of Destiny are in that $5 mark or five or under mark and might shoot up. Obviously, Tri-Brigade Kit, Psy-Frame Gear Gamma, Parallel Exceed. These three cards I've talked about a lot. If you have not picked up these cards, I strongly if you do not if you once you run these cards, I strongly recommend picking these up. Tri-Brigade Kit, Parallel Exceed, this version of Parallel Exceed, I would not be surprised if they started to shoot up in price as we start to get closer and closer to, the regional scene and the local scene because it's coming around the corner very soon, and it's not a surprise that this one immediately became. I remember when the card first came out in the 2021 Megatins, it was just as expensive as these two cards. In fact, I think this was still the most expensive card. Now this card is starting to take shape, and it won't be very long before Parallel Exceed from the 2021 tins is no longer a $5 card. I actually pulled one from a tin I got recently, so I was pretty excited about that. The rest of the 10 cards, it's interesting to see what cards from the tins are starting to shape out. Torn Scales, Punishment, Fractal, as well as Gorsmurner. Harpy's Featherstorm is interesting, sitting here at only 27 listings. Now we take a look at some of the other versions of this card. This is the worst version, right? And unless something crazy happens, you gotta take a look too. The fact of the matter is that the the least expensive version right now is the common for $3, right? And let me see, that's probably a near mint version. Yeah, okay, so for 350. I don't know what's the $3 one then. That we just saw. It's right here. Oh, 0% feedback at 35 sales. Okie dokie. And it is gonna just start going up, which is interesting. Harpy's Featherstorm, I mean, it is a good card. All right, for those who don't know what this card does, that would make sense. But if you control a wind wing beast monster until the end of this turn, negate any monster effects your opponent activates. If you control a harpy, you can activate this card from your hand, right? So that's actually really, really solid. Um, but it is very, very circumstantial, which is why we don't see it very often. Now, it also has the effect of where it can add a Harpy's Feather Duster, so obviously that card going to 1 or that card going to 3 is going to make this card go up in price. Obviously that card at 1 is why this card went up in price. And also, too, it's a Harpies card. So it's like Harpies, Red Eyes, Blue Eyes, Dark Magician, all of the stuff from the show, any of the shows, they're always going to be on the not expensive side, but things you want to watch out for. There's a reason why Magician Souls is a $100 card still, and it's not in that great of a deck. Dark Magician's not that great, right? Harpies is about as good as Dark Magician, to be honest, and this is one of the key cards for that. So definitely keep an eye on Harpy's Featherstorm. Only 27 listens left, and it's still under the $5 mark. So that's really exciting there. Effective Weather, we actually talked about that last week. And the first card what we could talk about right now from Burst of Destiny is going to be Sword Soul Strategist Languan, if I said that correctly. 176 listings. I don't see this card going up too super much. This is the one that discards to summon a token, or to summon itself out. So that's actually pretty solid there. And the fact of the matter is that Sword Soul. Okay, if because technically speaking, there are going to be some cards in Sword Soul that are going to be under $5. Odds are, because Sword Soul is such an expensive deck, the cards under $5 are not going to move. Just to keep it real. So I think that if you want to, you can invest in this. But I don't. Usually we see decks that are relatively expensive on the expensive side on their higher end cards. The low end cards stay cheap, right? So that's something to keep in mind. Um, Interestingly enough, the maximum gold version of the Golden Lord is what's a 540? Okay, there's a 299 one. I'm super curious about that. I don't know what this is doing right now. But let me see here. Three to 299. It's right here. Okay, so this is something actually MCO 40 has talked about. I think it's kind of like how Google, when you Google something, it'll show you like the things that pay to be on the first page before it'll show you the actual results. This is kind of something similar. So always make sure you're checking because we came here like if you just look at this, it's like, oh, it's not a $5 card anymore. It's like, well, no, there's actually a lot of listings from verified sellers. A lot of verified sellers actually. You have to go. Where is this even at? Like you have to go to the third page. Pro Play Games, I think that's who it is, or is it Kitchen Tables? Yeah, it's Kitchen Table. So you have to go to the third page to find this. So make sure you're not just clicking the first thing you see, especially when you're trying to do the penny stock for Yu-Gi-Oh. Because the point is of the penny stock is you're trying to get it at the cheapest you possibly can, right? And if you go to see the market price, you go to see this card's $3, you're like, oh, it's 540. You're gonna lose a lot, but even just like a little bit, if it was like a 539 and you see this one for 540, always scroll down. That's the point of what I'm trying to say. Always scroll down. Um, but that's an interesting card. As far as whether or not to get it, all the reprints for the Eldritch stuff is actually a solid thing because this card, I don't know if I don't think it was announced right for El Dorado. So this card, especially this version of this card, could start to go up in value the more and more people are just messing around, tooling around with Eldritch. So keep an eye out on that. Cyber Dragon Nova and Cyber Dragon Seeger are cards that I have talked about before, and we'll just double check. There's 872 listings at $1.70. So someone came in and is really holding the line here. And this is why, keep in mind too, this is why you want to take a look at the penny stock market. Right? I mean, I don't know exactly how Gamers Choice, I don't work at Gamers Choice, but I don't know exactly how Gamers Choice got 872 copies. Wouldn't be surprised if this was like 1,000 too, and there's already been some that have been bought, right? But this was a common in Legendary Duelist Season 2, right? So, maybe this person just got a bunch of sets and just ended up with a whole bunch of these cards, and that's why we take a look at it. I mean, I do it all the time in my locals that has all the bulk. I spend at least 2 or 3 hours, on a specific day every week just looking through all the bulk, seeing if I can find, oh, this card might go up in value, this card might go up in value. Because the thing is you buy 1,000 of these for 25 cents each. Let's get the calculator out real quick. Right, because that's the whole point of the penny stock market is to get some value like that. You buy 1,000 of them at 25 cents each, right? And that's $250. It's kind of a lot, right? But then you just sit on it and sit on it and sit on it, and the archetype that card is in, Cyber Dragon, gets a structure deck, Cyber Strike, and it is missing this card, and this card's very important. So now, instead of having 1,000 copies of a 25-cent card, you have 1,000 copies at a $2 card. You can undercut the value at $1.70, right? Like, let's assume that guy bought that card at 25 cents, and that's $1,700. And essentially that's another stimulus check, all because you went for that type of investment. But it's even more than a stimulus check. That's why we talk about the penny stock market watch, right? Because this is still a card I would watch out for, right? 872 listings feels like a lot, but it's not going to take very long before that's gone and it's back to being a $3 card. And it'll probably hold the line at 3 for a minute, but then it might jump all the way up to 4. And there are really not a lot of listings on here. I mean, this one's probably not going to get bought anytime soon, but this person also probably bought this card at like $1 or less. So, and now they're trying to sell it at 30, and eventually it might get to that spot. So it's just something to keep in mind, obviously, there. Virtual World Lulu is also a good card as well. Um, and the thing is with the Virtual World stuff is that you're going to want to just look at it. Virtual World didn't perform, I think, as well as people thought. Because I mean, okay, you look at every other card from the main like power decks, like Tri Brigade, like what was it, Drytron. You know, they all got hurt. They all got hit. Dragon Links hit. Dinosaurs hit. Um, what is it? Prank Kids. I don't know why it took me so long. Got hit. Right. All of those cards got hit, and the fact of the matter is that Virtual World did not. And Virtual World also got support with Emergency Teleport, and it really didn't perform super well. So the reason I'm saying all of this stuff that you probably already know is because decks that are underperforming usually do not have value. Decks that are underperforming. But at any moment, and it's an archetype that a lot of people have been messing around with, at any moment it could just randomly shoot up in value because someone found a really cool combo with Virtual World. So it's just something to keep your eye out there. Dogda, the ultra rare Dogda, is sitting under $5 now. That's super duper exciting. If we take a look here, I mean, a bunch of these sold at 444 a few days ago, yesterday. I'm trying to go far enough back. This card has been just absolutely flying off the shelf ever since it started to go down in value. So, yes, the reprint is coming, but I would just take a look to see if 449 for the original version. That's usually going to be a solid investment, right? And it's not going to take. I mean, technically speaking, it's not a penny stock at all because it's actually, yeah, the shipping it's over $5, but it's technically is technically not type of situation. Um, and then okay, I was waiting too. This is the last card we're going to talk about. Ice Jade Tremora. I don't really think this card's the most high quality investment. However, the numbers would disagree, right? Because there's an article, let me see if it's still up, about the best card, the cards everybody wants from Burst of Destiny, right? And I mean, obviously you have your M pens, obviously you have all your Sword Soul cards, um, and obviously you have the stun card. But right here at number 9 is Ice Jade Tremora, right? And it is the best card in this archetype, but the archetype is just kind of bad, right? So it's just something to look at, something to keep in mind of. I'm just trying to. You can send this card from your hand to the graveyard, especially when a water monster from your hand. If a face-up water monster you control is destroyed, so it's generic though too. So that's something to keep in mind too. This is super generic. Like if you send, you know, you can send this card to special summon any water. So you can summon, an Abyss Megalo, or you can summon the card that searches the Sea Stealth attack. I don't remember the card's name off the top of my head. Or you could summon an actually good water monster, right? You can summon a lot of different things. And I think that's why this card's value isn't where the rest of the Ice Jade stuff is at. Because if you look at the rest of the Ice Jade stuff right now, and there's not a lot, it's all just like super free. And if you want an engine, or if you want a random archetype, this I mean, like you got to get 3 copies of this card, right? And you probably have to get other cards too, because obviously you can't run a 12 card deck. But if you want, 6 cents, 15 cents, if we go off the market price, 12 cents, 23 cents, 10 cents, that's 50 cents. $3 times 3 is 9.50. We're looking at $10 for an entire core, and it could randomly get some support down the line, or randomly find this crazy combo, and all these cards could go up in value. I doubt that, but there's a reason why Ice Jade Tremora is one of the cards that everybody's trying to get from Burst of Destiny, and one of the best selling cards under $5. But let me know what you guys think. What cards are you looking at right now that are under $5? Let me know in those comments down below. Click that like button to show your support for the channel. Subscribe for even more content. But most importantly of all, Have a good day.
Hey, what's going on, guys? So the easiest way to support my channel isn't by buying some weird thing that I'm talking about in my video or by clicking on some weird advertisement, but it's just buying directly from Cards of Connor at tcgplayer.com. There will actually be a link available in the description, and it's going to have all of your cards at or below market price value, right? So if you see cardsofconnor.com, it might not say verified, but that's okay. I have 100% positive feedback on all of my sales so far, so please, the best way to support Hot Dog Flexers is to shop from Cards of Connor at tcgplayer.com.